Welcome to No More Bullshift. I'm Peggy.
And I'm Marci.
We are two women who believe that life's trials aren't happening to us, they're happening for us.
And we're here to help you turn every why me into watch me.
Because shifting out of victim mode and into empowerment is what we do best.
So join us as we cut through the bullshift and help you see how strong you really are.
Hey, Marci.
Hey, Peggy.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I am ready to talk about some focus and goal setting for the upcoming year. However, I want to ask you a question first.
Let's go.
Are you a vision boarder?
Ooh, yeah, I've done it before. I like it. I think it's really cool and beautiful. But then sometimes I see other people's and I'm jealous.
You get jealousy over the vision boarding.
Yes, because I'm like, mine will be the prettiest. But I'm way more of a writing of the goals than a vision boarder. What about you?
So that's interesting. I think I take a two-step approach. So I love the visual of the vision board, and Caroline and I did them last year, and it was so lovely because we got all these magazines. It probably cost me like $300, I'm not going to lie, to make these stupid vision boards, but they ended up beautiful. We still have them up. So at the end, when she comes home from school, at the end of the year, we're going to go through and kind of check off like everything that we kind of accomplished. Already, I know we got a lot of them in, but I also love to sit and do I'm a woo-woo girl, a card pull. So I will look at my numerology for the year. So what is the energy of each month? Like what is the year's energy? And then what's the energy of each month? And then I do a card pull and I say, okay, what's the focus going to be of that month? And then build my goals around that energy. So I'm working with what's naturally occurring.
And do you do it like every month?
No, I do it at the beginning of the year for the whole year.
For the whole year.
Yeah,
okay.
I've got a big pad of paper that I write it all out on.
Wow.
And I say, okay, I'm going into a 9-year, which in numerology is wisdom, it's completion. So everything that I've been building since, 9 years ago is going to come into fruition going into this 9-year. And then I look by month, the energy of each month, and say, okay, well, this is a new beginning month. This is a month of change, if it's a 5-month or whatever. And then I will pull the themes with my cards and say, okay, this is a chariot moment. So things are going to be moving really quickly, or this is a tower moment. So, it's a month of change and it's going to be really burning something down to build it back up. And where do I want the focus around that energy to be?
I love it. I have been really into on Instagram. I've seen a lot about 2025 was the year of the snake.
Yes.
Like shedding, getting rid of stuff.
And we're going into the horse.
Yes, which is like a powerful.
Yeah, moves quickly. It's getting things done. You're going to see a lot of abundance. Yeah.
Super cool. Super cool. Okay. So for the month of January, we're kind of doing this theme of goals and New Year's resolutions, for lack of a better term. So this episode, we want to talk very, very specifically on how to choose 1 to 2 goals you want to achieve in 2026.
Correct. So when we're looking at goals, how do you usually choose what you want to focus on for the year?
Well, probably I do it kind of randomly. Well, I do try to think of future Marci and what would she want me to do in like my dream version of myself. But I would love a better tangible way. So what do you think, Peggy?
Well, I think when we're looking at what type of shift we want to make on a yearly basis, there's so many areas. Like if you were to ask me, around money, well, sure, I want more money. Around my body, of course I want a better body. Around my travel, yes, I want to travel the world, right? There's so many things that if I were to put all of my focus into those 10 things, I would get nowhere because I'd be spread so thin. So for me, I look at the big picture of what am I struggling with from a self-belief or self-confidence or self-esteem. And that's usually where I will see the other things fall into place if I can address that and make that my focus. So really the last few years, it started on a physical. So 3 years ago, I wanted to lose weight, and that was where I put my time and my energy. And then as I started to lose weight, new things started to come in, because what happens is as you shed one thing, you create space for another focus. And so then the evolution of that was I went from losing weight into building my spiritual growth and my emotional health. And now I'm really looking at, okay, how do I take all of these things and shifting my focus into being less outer appearance focused, more inner, but then taking that from a healing perspective. How do I take that into the world and have that help others shift? And this podcast is one of those things. This was absolutely at the beginning of 25. If you were to look back at those things I listed out, having a podcast is one of them.
That's
that
awesome.
was one of the big shifts I wanted to make, was becoming more public with healing.
I love that. I think it's really good. And I think you said something there that's really important. Like if you made a list of all the things that you want in your dream version of your life, whatever you think is really affecting your self-esteem the most, like, ooh, like that gut wrenching, that's the one you should probably put in the middle of that bullseye for goals.
Absolutely.
I just think confidence is the one thing that shifts you out of victim mentality so fast.
And it helps you to then take other actions because you start to believe in yourself.
Exactly. Yes, I totally agree. So I have a list here of the most commonly failed resolutions. So this one might be on your list. Okay, exercise more, lose weight, save money, eat healthier, quit smoking or drinking, learn a new skill, get organized, reduce stress.
What do you think they have in common?
I think they're all too broad. It's, I think really
I think they're too absolute.
Ooh, okay. Well, that probably makes them feel like so heavy and impossible. And then one slip off, one drink, one cigarette, one time you don't exercise, you just feel like you're like tumbling to the ground.
Let's be realistic. It's January 1st and you're going to stop smoking. Okay. Today I didn't have a cigarette. I go out on January 5th and I'm drinking with my friends, which is a trigger, right? I want to have a cigarette. They're maybe smoking. And I'm like, okay, just one. I'll just have one. And I have a cigarette. Well, if my goal was to quit smoking and I had a cigarette 5 days later, I didn't meet my goal. Mm-hmm. I failed. And that's what my brain is going to say. You failed because your goal was to quit smoking, right? It was too absolute. It was too big, too soon.
So would you suggest like baby stepping it down?
Yeah, I absolutely would. So let's say your goal is weight loss, right? And you need to be at a healthy weight, according to BMI. You need to get from a 32 BMI down to a 20 BMI. And that means you need to lose 150 pounds. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, are you going to lose 150 pounds in a year? Maybe. You're going to have to do that pretty extreme. And it means you're going to have to go from about 4,500 calories a day down to probably 1,000 or less to get to that end result. Are you going to start at 1,000 or less immediately?
No way.
Absolutely not. You will never stick to that. You'll stick to that in the short term and you might actually lose some weight. But in the long term, you're going to go right back to your old patterns because you didn't get there gradually. You went too extreme too soon. And now you're going to go backslide and probably gain weight. You're going to put what you lost back on and probably add a few pounds to it because you went too extreme too soon.
Okay. So let's jog it back here. What about someone that doesn't know? They have no idea like what goal they want to set for 2026. What advice would you have for them? Like where would they start?
Well, first of all, make a list of all the things you think you want to shift. That would be a good one. And then go through, and if it were me, I would look at that and I would say, okay, where am I going to get the biggest shift? What is one thing here I could shift that will shift probably 3 or 4 others long term, but I'll start here. Make it manageable, make it realistic. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing. Let's say you've got all of those. I want to save money. I want to lose weight. I want to stop smoking. I want to stop drinking. Okay. All right. Well, let's go to the losing weight. If you want to lose weight and you focused there, do you think ultimately you would save some money? You would stop drinking as much? You would start to shift some of the other behaviors naturally.
Yes.
Just by focusing on that one thing, because you're not eating out as much, so you're saving money.
Right.
You aren't eating out as much, so you're not drinking as socially. You're
Right.
not eating out as much, so you're not getting that extra little cigarette in.
Yeah.
Some of these other behaviors will start to naturally adjust. But if you just stop smoking, would that impact your drinking? Would that impact your money? It probably would impact your money. Would it impact your weight loss? Probably not.
Right, right. Good point. Yeah, I think that's right. I think really if you can focus in on one goal, then, I think things are naturally going to kind of shift in a positive direction as you're reinventing yourself to become the new version of you. I also think if you have no idea where to start, but you're really unhappy with your life, well, one, you could Google some ideas, but in this book that I've read that I love called Level Up, he talks about his friend that literally just hated the direction his life was going, and he decided to make every decision a 180 from what that was. So if he used to sleep in every day, he decided to start waking up early. If he used to hang out with a rough crowd, he's decided to not hang out with them and find new people. I mean, everything was just a complete 180 because he wanted dramatic, fast change. And I think that can be an option too.
I think you need to know who you are as a person. So that's probably where you start. Find a tool, whether it is, a personality profile, your astrology, human design, something, your Myers-Briggs. Get in touch with how you work as a human being, because I think a lot of the times we'll read a book like that, and that's great for that guy. That would not work for me. I would try that because it worked for that guy. And even in my journey with weight loss, and probably a lot of the times, Marci, for you, when people look at your success, they want a blueprint. They want you to say, well, tell me what you did, and I'm going to go follow that. What I did is not going to work necessarily for you because you don't have the same personality that I do. So find what works for you, but you've got to know who you are. So start maybe with understanding, are you impulsive? Are you the kind of decision maker like I in human design? I am the kind of decision maker that is emotional. So I have to ride the wave of my emotions before I commit to something. So I could be out with you and you could say, hey, Peggy, let's go on a trip to Hawaii in February. And I'd be like, oh, hell yes. I'm 100% in. And the next day, I'm like, what the fuck did I just do? I don't want to go to Hawaii. I don't want to go to Hawaii in February. I've already got these other trips planned. What was I even thinking? But I didn't allow that emotional wave to pass and then get to the point where I'm at neutral and make a decision. So I'm always going to probably make a decision I'll regret in the moment if I don't wait. That's how I work. Know how you work. Not everybody works that way. Some people feel a full body hell yes. And so when they feel that full body hell yes, they need to listen to that and just commit, even if it doesn't make sense. Even if going to Hawaii in February doesn't make sense, if their entire body is like, yes, and that's the way they work, they can trust that in the moment. I can't trust that in the moment.
Yeah.
I will regret it later. I'll be that person that committed to going out to drinks with you when we're at drinks on this one time, and then I'll cancel on you because I'll be like, oh, fuck that. I'm not going out on Friday night.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
You're coming exhausted.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, I do think is important is if somebody else has achieved it, it is possible for you. Like, just because your personalities are different or your paths to get there are different, it only takes one person to show your human brain that it's possible. And then it's possible. Like, I forget what it was many, many years ago. There's like some marathon
Yeah,
guy.
the mile.
Yeah. And then like nobody could go faster than this until one guy did, let's just make up a year, 94.
It was like a 4-minute mile. They said nobody can go faster than a 4-minute mile.
So he did it. And then the next year, 10 people did it because their brain suddenly was like, well, maybe it is possible. Maybe we could go that fast on a mile. So I just think the most important thing is like, if you have a black piece of paper blocking you from possibility, it just takes one tiny prick with a pin to show a little light, and then more, a little light, a little light. And so whatever you want your goal to be, you just need to realize it is possible.
Oh, for sure. And look for the proof. So if you are out there and you're going, I have this big goal, I want to stop drinking, I feel like I drink too much, going cold turkey is probably not the best approach, but look for the proof of people who have done it. And then look at the various ways that they've done it. And then what resonates for you? Which path that they took makes sense to you? Don't overthink it. Just the one that feels right, do it. Even if it's not conventional, who cares? Do it that way. Try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean you failed. It means a different way might be better. I mean, look at Thomas Edison. How many failed attempts did he have at the light bulb? But we're all sitting under light bulbs right now. You know, Ford, same thing. Failed. We're all driving cars.
Right.
You know, so be willing to fail, because when you fail, you are one step closer to the answer. Nobody gets it right the first time. Nobody finds the solution, but you've got to be a scientist. You've got to be willing to experiment. And so when you're looking at shifts and you're looking at, well, approaches, other people are doing it. It can be done. So just pick the thing you want to focus on, do some homework, do the research, and then just start to plug away at it.
Right. And kind of in that same vein, let's say you're having a hard time deciding on one to two goals for the year. Do beyond yourself if there's analysis paralysis. If you are just like chewing on it, like no decision is also a decision. So I think you need to like maybe give yourself a deadline. Like, I will pick one thing by this date, period. And then you do it. And you're just one decision away from a change in your life. But just be on to yourself. If you notice you're spinning and not making choices, you got to catch yourself. Or if you're busying yourself with other things like, oh, I just have no time to sit down and look or research. No, set the time. You can prioritize whatever you want to prioritize in your life. And you will. You'll find the time.
And it doesn't have to be the big thing. So maybe you start small. Maybe this isn't the year you lose 170 pounds. Maybe this is the year you start walking 5,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. That's the only goal you set, and that's the one you achieve. Because then guess what? Next year, you ramp it up. And now you've built trust with yourself because you were able to stick to the goal. If the goal doesn't feel like something you can stick to, pick the one that does. That's your answer. The one that feels realistic. The one that feels easy, the one that feels expansive. If when you think about going to the gym, like if I were to set a goal to start doing crossbody, is that what it's called?
CrossFit.
Yeah, see, I hate it. If I were to set a goal.
Peggy's not good. That's not going to be your goal.
It'll never be my goal. I mean, never say never, right? But I am who I am. I have hated aerobic activity since I was a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader and I hated aerobic activity, but I loved social. So that's why I did it. But if we had to run around the track as training, like suddenly I was sick, I had an ankle injury, I was on my period, whatever. I did anything I could get out of doing that. I am not an aerobic person, and I don't care how many times I try to tell myself I'm not. So I will never make that my goal, ever. Now, if that ends up being a byproduct of something and I find my love for it, great. But if I were to say, I'm going to lose weight this year, and I'm going to do it by going to CrossFit because that's what everybody does. And look at how hard their bodies are, and look at how good they look. And that's how they don't have this loose skin and all of these things. I don't give a shit how good crossbody could be for my body, because if I don't do it because I don't like it, it doesn't matter that I set that as my goal, because I won't stick with it and ultimately I'll fail. So it'd be much better for me to go to Pilates or yoga, because I love how I feel after I do those things, whether it makes sense or not, whether the science tells me that's what I should do or not. That's what works for me. And that's how I stick to my goal, because all the best goals in the world are not going to get me to a place of success if I hate it and I don't do it and I quit.
Yeah, I think that's good. So let's break it down into basically like 3 tangible steps that we think people would need to do to find the goal for the year.
Where would you start?
I think I'd say step 1, honestly, I would maybe like journal some down and see what feels like, ooh, that's the sticker,
I'd just say make a list of 10 things. 10 things you would love to shift. And, okay, write those down.
Yeah. Okay, step 1, 10 things.
10 things, write them down. Step 2, what would you do?
Maybe narrow that list down to 3, and I actually would journal on them.
I think what you need to do to narrow it down is to ask yourself a couple of key questions. And one of those is, what am I trying to achieve? What is the end result I'm trying to get to? And why?
Yeah.
Why am I trying to achieve this?
Yes, I like that. And maybe with like that first 10, kind of envision your dream version of yourself to help you find the 10.
And why is that your dream version of yourself? Is it because you think that's who you should be? Or is it because that's who feels most aligned for you?
That's very important.
Yeah. Ask that tough question.
And all resolutions or goals or whatever you want to call it, all of them should not be because that's what like the world wants you to do, but because that's what you need to do for you.
That's the way it's going to stick. When it feels authentic to you, that's when it's going to stick. And sometimes that's uncomfortable because we've been so conditioned to be in that herd mentality, to fit in. And we feel like that's the only way we'll be liked. When actually true connection comes from being who you are authentically. So what authentically feels like what you want to do in that list, even if it doesn't make sense to maybe your best friend or your mom or your husband?
Such a good point. Such a good point. I remember years ago, I was getting some life coaching and it was like a one-on-one call. And I was talking about weight loss. And this guy goes, Marci, you actually don't really want to lose weight. You don't even think you need to. And I was like, and he was kind of right. Like, I've been this weight for a long time, give or take. It's healthy for my height. And it's true. I want to be more muscular or whatever, or lose body fat or whatever. But I was like, man. And this guy was in Australia, actually, which was funny. But he called me out. And I was like, I think I grew up so much hearing women talking about weight loss. I just assumed I had to do that. But it just wasn't what I had to do. But
that's such a good point. When you're making your list, maybe make 2 categories. Whose voice is this? Mine or? And then attach that. Is this my mom? Is this what I grew up with? I mean, we have so much conditioning we don't even realize is conditioning.
Yeah, so true. Okay, so step 1, we said the 10 things. Mm-hmm. Step 2, what did we say?
We said a bunch of stuff. So step 2, we probably put about 4 steps in there.
We love steps.
The why. Why do I want to do this?
Okay, yeah, the why. Okay.
The why. What am I wanting to achieve?
Yes. Okay, and then step 3, I think, is like take 20 minutes and research about it.
Yeah, you definitely want, once you've looked at these things, and I say this is a great time to use AI. Put these into AI. Put this thought you put, like, whose is this? Is this mine? Or is this conditioning? Why do I want to do this? And what am I hoping to achieve? Put that, and you can do this into AI. You don't have to list this all out and type it all out. It takes longer. Just get in there, hit that little microphone, just put it out there, and then ask AI, based on this, where would you start? Where would you start? Because which is going to have the best compounding effect on change, and which is going to be the easiest based on what you know about me. I like this. I don't like that. Tell AI everything about yourself, and AI can help create a plan for you.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's how we find the goal for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, use the tools. I mean, a lot of people are resistant to AI. I get it, 100%. It can be scary, but so is the computer when the computer came out.
Yeah.
And now look at us. And so let's use it for good.
Yes.
Let's use it for good. And this is a place where I do think AI is extraordinarily helpful in cutting through the noise.
Totally. All right, awesome. Okay, so go pick your goals.
And now let's go and talk about how to achieve them. Catch us on the next one. All right, that's our shift for today.
Go live, laugh, and do one bold thing before the next episode drops.
Follow us at No More Bullshift and keep the conversation going.
Because if you can't laugh about it,
You probably still need to shift it.